I didn't realize what was happening until it was almost too late. Story 1. I still can't bring myself to tell my wife about the basement door. It started 3 months ago. The house is old, built in the 1920s, set back from the road, surrounded by pines. Quiet. That's why we bought it. Peace. But the basement was always off. Not haunted, not creaky, just wrong. The door is in the kitchen, warped wood with a tarnished brass knob. We sealed it shut when we moved in. No reason to go down there. Plumbing and electrical were rerouted. The foundation was unstable. Our inspector said, "Leave it be." I did. Until 2 weeks ago. I woke at 3:17 a.m., according to the clock on my nightstand. No dream, no noise, just awake. And the smell. Wet stone and something metallic, like old blood. I followed it. The basement door was open, not ajar, not cracked, swung wide, yawning into black. The smell poured out, thick and cold. I stood there in my socks, heart thudding so hard I thought I might vomit. I grabbed the flashlight from the junk drawer, clicked it on. The beam trembled in my hand as I aimed it down the steps. Concrete, dust, cobwebs. Then, a sound. A tap. Like a fingernail on stone. From the far corner. I aimed the light. Nothing. Another tap. Closer. I stepped back. The door shouldn't have been locked from the inside. I remember sealing the latch myself. Then, a whisper. Not words. Just a sound. Like breath forced through something narrow. A throat too tight. It came from beneath the stairs. I froze. The air dropped 10 degrees. My breath fogged. The light flickered once. Just once. And in that blink, I saw it. A shape. Kneeling. Thin limbs, elbows bent backward. Its head lolled to one side, too far, like it was broken. And its eyes, white, wet, pupilless, locked onto mine. I didn't scream. I couldn't. My body shut down. Pure animal terror. Then it moved. Not stood. Not crawled. It unfolded, like a spider testing silk. One long finger reached toward the first step. I stumbled back, slammed the door shut, and rammed the kitchen table against it. I didn't sleep. Sat in the living room with the gun my dad left me, pointed at the kitchen all night. Next morning I boarded the door shut. Told my wife the latch was faulty. She believed me. But last night I checked. The boards were splintered from the inside. Deep grooves, like claws. And on the floor, leading from the door to my bedroom, a trail of damp footprints. Small. Bare. 5 toes, but the middle one was split. Cloven, like a goat's. I sat on the edge of the bed and listened. And from behind the sealed door, I heard it again. That slow, wet tap. 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 And the breath. Always the breath. I haven't told anyone. What would I say? That something is in the basement that shouldn't be? That it knows where I sleep? It's watching me now. I can feel it. Not with my skin. In my bones. And tonight, just now, I heard the table scrape against the floor. Like something's pushing it aside. God help me. It's learning how to open doors. Story 2. The shortcut through Blackwood Glen was a 15-minute walk. Always. That night, it became an eternity. I'd stayed late at the library, hunched over folklore thesis notes, and the dusk had crept up on me. Autumn air bit through my jacket as I crunched down the gravel path, my boots echoing like gunshots. Halfway through the thicket, the world turned colder, unnatural, like a freezer door had cracked open. My breath hung fogged, but the trees showed no frost. Then the whispering started. Not wind, but a voice. Not quite human, a hiss of syllables just beyond comprehension. I froze, hand diving for my keys, the beam of my phone light slicing through the gloom. Nothing. Just the skeletal trees. "Hello?" My voice sounded swallowed. The whisper sharpened into a chorus, and I ran. I didn't get far. A shape materialized ahead, tall, gliding. A figure in a long, tattered coat, its head a smooth oval, eyes like dim, violet streetlights. More emerged behind me. No sound of footsteps. My legs locked. They were close now, too close. The one in front raised a hand, fingers long and knuckled like tree roots. My skin began to tingle, a static so intense it felt like my clothes were made of pins. The air tasted metallic, like blood and batteries. They're trying to make me disappear. The thought slithered in, not mine but theirs. My body lifted, weightless, as the ground fell away. Then, sirens. A wail of police lights cut through the trees. The figures screamed, a sound like shattering glass and rusted hinges. They vanished. I crumpled, cold grass smacking my cheek. I remember nothing of how I got home, only the front porch light finding me curled on the doorstep. My watch stopped at 3:17 a.m. Mom found me shivering, babbling about things in the woods. But the ER doc called it hypothermia and shock. Proof? The scars. 3 parallel marks, faint but permanent, on my wrist where their fingers pressed. And the nightmares of floating in a dark room, eyes violet and endless, me the intruder. Last Tuesday, I walked past Blackwood Glen. No shortcut now, just a new street sign. Private property, trespassers harassed. But on the fence, etched into the wood with something wet and black, was my name. Fresh. They're still out there, waiting. And sometimes, in the mirror, I catch the flicker of roots where my fingers should be. Story 3. It happened on Highway 17, just past the old mining cut, where the woods press in on both sides and the yellow lines fade into ghosts. I was driving home from my night shift at the hospital, 3:17 a.m., according to the digital clock that blinked like a tired eye. Rain slicked the asphalt, and the wipers groaned with each pass, smearing more than clearing. That's when I saw the figure. At first I thought it was a deer, tall, too tall, standing dead center in the shoulder, illuminated by my high beams. But it wasn't moving, just watching. I slowed. Too curious, maybe. Or just too exhausted to process the wrongness of it. Its silhouette was human, but wrong. Limbs too long, head slightly too large, tilted like a bird studying a worm. No coat, no clothes, just pale, stretched skin glistening under the rain. Then it raised an arm, not a wave, more like an invitation, or a command. I stepped on the gas. But 10 seconds later, headlights cut through the rearview mirror. No dimming. Just burning white, constant, close. I checked the speedometer. 80, then 85. The road curved, but the lights stayed locked behind me, unnaturally steady, like they weren't affected by the turns. My phone was on the passenger seat. I reached for it. No signal. Then the tapping started. Not on the windows, inside the car, on the roof. 3 slow knocks, like knuckles on metal. I screamed, swerved, gripped the wheel so hard my fingers went numb. I glanced up, reflected in the rear view. A face pressed against the back windshield. Eyeless sockets, a slit for a mouth, stretched into something that wasn't a smile. Skin like wet paper. I stomped the brakes. The headlights behind me didn't. They veered off, silent, effortless, disappearing into the tree line as if the forest had swallowed them whole. But the face stayed. I could still feel it back there, watching. Even after I pulled over, shaking, and checked every inch of the car. Nothing. No footprints in the mud. No dents. No sign it had ever been there. I drove the rest of the way home with the interior light on, gripping a scalpel from my med bag. Didn't sleep. Just sat by the window, staring into the dark. Then, 3 mornings later, I found it. In the back seat. Not the creature. Just something. A small black stone, smooth, warm to the touch. Not from around here. Not from anywhere I've ever seen. I threw it into the river. That night, I heard the tapping again. On the roof. Then, softer, at my bedroom window. 3 knocks. I didn't look. I haven't since. But I know it's not over. Because last night, I checked the passenger seat before starting the car. And the stone was back. Sitting right where I left my keys. Warm. And damp. Like it had just come out of the rain. Even though it hadn't rained in days.